everyone, I thought it would be lovely to finish off our sort of Easter selection of pictures with this really cute little bunny rabbit. This is from Maria Trolle's Botanicum, and I have been asked to do some more Maria Trolle pictures anyway, and this one just looked so cute. I thought that it would be a lovely one to have a go at. I think I'm actually going to start with the bunny. Normally I would sort of maybe not, but I think I will. I am using Chromaflow pencils, the Derwent, because they're quite, you know, you can get some detail here with these, which I think we'll need potentially later, maybe even for the bunny actually. And I'm thinking grey to start with on our bunny, and I may add a little bit of brownish colours into the fur after. But what I'm going to do first is grab the colour called Fell Mist, which is a light grey. And oh, let's come in a bit closer. If we're just doing the bunny, you don't need to see the whole page, and hopefully my camera will adjust slightly and give you a better light. Yeah, I was waving at you then. So Fell Mist, and I'm going to just put a layer of the Fell Mist across the whole bunny just to give me a base colour, and so I can start to identify which bits are bunny. Now you can see, or maybe not see, that it's really pale, and that's fine. That's what I want to start with, just a pale colour, so that we can have a little base. And here, look, our ear, we've got, this is this sort of inside part that I'm just doing now, and then this is the outside, so we might do those slightly different colours or a little bit of shadow or something like that. But at the moment, as I say, I'm just getting this sort of coat of pale colour down. It's helping me to see what's what, that I can see now that we've got this little bunny crown made from florals and leaves, which is very cute. We've got to go around the eye. We don't really need to worry about the eye. I think we'd need to do the eyelid and whatever the bottom eyelid, no, I don't know, bits of the eye. But we don't need to worry about the actual pupil, iris, etc. It's all done for us. So I'm just taking my grey right down. I'm thinking here, look, it goes all the way down the side of this flower and down here. I'm not sure about this part, whether this is bunny. We've got a line here and here, but I'm not, you know, this is probably bunny here. That is the stem of that flower. It's a little bit tricky to know where bunny ends, really. I think I might just end sort of here. I think I might just do that and just do this bit like that. Right, that is our basic bunny and our first little layer of colour. Now we want to go slightly darker. Let's have a little look. So that was the Fell Mist. I think we can actually move to Oxford Grey. It's quite a jump up in colour, but that Fell Mist is very pale. So I feel that we need to go, you know, quite a bit darker. So I'm kind of Oxford Grey, just sharpening it, and I'm going to just put in lines. We're going to try and start just showing some fur. That's what I'm going to do here. And while I'm doing all this fur, I can fill you in with my family drama. There's nothing. No. The morning I've just spent trying to encourage my son to do some work. He's getting on, he's doing a piece of code at the moment. He's getting there slowly, and it's so slow. It's like, oh, you know, getting blood out of a stone. He gets distracted so easily, and if I try and nag him too much, he gets stressed. It's like, oh. And I've done the stupidest thing in calculating how many words he has to write over his Easter holiday per day in order to make sure he's on target for his essays, just minimum, and it's more than he's ever written in a day, and he's going to have to do it every day, and I am like getting myself too worked up about it, and I need to chill. and I'm not sure what I'm going to do really during Easter to try to make sure that I can help him stay on top of it without overly nagging him so much he gets too stressed, without stressing myself. And I have been told by loads of people, oh, just leave him to it, let him fail. I can't do that. You know, I'm so used to having to nag everybody in my household to get on. I was helping my other son this morning too with some of his work, and he was getting very distracted, and I asked him if he wanted me to confiscate his phone because he was getting so distracted, and he was like no, and then he got on after that. But I don't understand either this whole distraction thing. It's like, you've got a deadline, just get on with it, you know. But it sounds really unsympathetic because I just can't get my head in that space. If I have a deadline, I am there with my nose to the grindstone continuously until it's done, unless my family takes priority, you know. And I'm like, why aren't you just getting on? This is Winter Lake. Now I'm going to try and put in some sort of areas that I think would be a little bit darker, but still sticking with doing little lines. So here, this sort of inside of the ear, I'm going to work my way along this line. So I'm relaxed now because I've gone off to uni, and there's absolutely nothing I can do now to help them in any way. So that's it, I can relax, which is lovely. And I'm also thinking it may impact my video making ability. I think I'm going to put a dark bit just on the edges of this ear, because they can tend to distract each other. It might be like that they want to use this office a little bit for working, and if they do, I can't record, so they're going to be my priority over the Easter holidays. I was thinking, you know, shall I ask their dad to come home, stay home, you know, have a holiday as well, so that he can help me. But unfortunately, he's not very good at sort of helping, in the sense that he sits quite far away from where they sit, so he doesn't quite know what they're up to. And then he'll just say to me things like, oh, while you were out, they didn't do anything. And I'm like, oh, thanks. You know. But I will have to take breaks myself away from the situation so that I can keep a bit calmer. And I look at it and think, my goodness, it would be quicker for me to learn all this stuff. Maybe not the accountancy and business. I know quite a bit of that anyway, but he's revising for an exam, so I can't do that. But with my son who's programming, I sort of think, I could learn this programming language and get it done quicker than he is, you know, and write the essays. I could just, I don't know. I probably couldn't really, but it's just boring to me, you know. But I do help him as much as I can. But yeah, it's a bit frustrating. Anyway, I vented now. Thank you for listening. And let's talk about relaxation. I just wrote a little article for my Ko-fi actually, about how to make colouring more relaxing. I'm going to grab the biscotti, and because I haven't observed that some people find colouring not as relaxing as perhaps they should, in the sense that it shouldn't be pressure, you've got to relax. No, not like that, but I'm just going to put a bit of this over everywhere just to brown it and darken it. This, you know, I like the sort of grey-brown colour. That some people tend to get themselves stressed over colouring. Even though they do it because they want to relax, they have all sorts of stresses that maybe they put on themselves or they feel from other people and places. And my article was about, here are some potential stresses that you might be feeling. I'm hoping it's not going to make people think, oh, maybe I should be stressed about that. And little tips on how to deal with them, really. And that's on my Ko-fi. I haven't released it yet, but by the time the video comes out, it will be there. So it's just a little helpful article. I thought I might write a few articles for there, It has a sort of blogging area, you see, and I thought it might be interesting. I don't know. I've got a few other ideas of things to write. I'm not going to do too much around the little nose area. I quite like that to be a bit paler. So I just thought it might be a little bit interesting to write a few little articles. You know, writing is where I've come from and I enjoy it. And I can just bang out an article really quickly once I've got some ideas in my head. I'm very quick at typing, quick at writing. It's my thing. So I thought I might do a few little articles, maybe on a Friday, release an article or something. And yeah, I thought I'd have a little go. It might be interesting. I've got an idea for my next one already. It's very completely different. You know, I don't want them all to be similar. And there's completely different, so we'll see anyway. There's a few on there already. I can't remember what they are. Good, it's good memory. But you might find them. Right, I'm going to leave my bunny like that for now. Such a cutely drawn face, such a sweet little bunny. And I'm going to work on some of the florals. Now I'm having a look. We can see most of it here in shot. We've got some similarities and differences. We've got these four are quite similar. These ones up here, you can barely see, they look similar-ish. I know in the back of the book, I think, it tells us what they are. Yeah, but I'm actually going to just go with my instinct and colour the colours that I like and what I've got in my pencil set, because I find it really hard to work out what page is which, because there's no page numbers, for one thing. And sometimes I just want to do my own thing, and that's what I'm going to do today. And if you'd rather look up the flower and colour it the right way, that's fine. Do that your way, but I'm just going to do these. Now, I think these look a bit like marigolds, and that's how I'm going to colour them. I'm trying to think. I'd quite like a more yellowy one rather than an orangey one. I'm pretty sure you can do them yellowy, and as I say, it's just my thing. I'm just going to do it my way. I'm going to start with the mango. Whoops. It is quite orangey, this colour, but I'm just going to use it for a few bits, and then we're going to go slightly more yellow. I think it will look nice and spring, warm, spring-like. Anyway, the sharpener isn't very good for these pencils. I need to get my other one. So I'm just going to put a tad at the bottom of each of these petals. It's going to take a little while, but it'll be okay. I can't work out how long I need these videos to be. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't make that much difference to you guys, but I'm trying to work out if they're morning or afternoon ones. I tend to make the morning ones a bit shorter, but I'm not sure where I'm at. I think I'm at needing a few afternoon ones to make them a little bit longer. Now, if you don't have this specific Maria Trolle book, I can't remember even what it was called, Botanicum, you will probably find that there are pictures with rabbits and flowers in other books of hers. She does have some similar pictures, which is good and bad. Some people like having a big variety, but for me, I quite like having a few similar ones, because it means if there's one I really like, I get a chance to do a similar one again. But also, once I've coloured it once, I sort of know what I'm doing, so then the second time maybe it's a bit better, maybe, you know. So there's that sort of thought. That's how I'm thinking. But yeah, as I say, some people say, oh, it's all a bit samey, I don't want to say. That's fair enough. So yesterday Hannah Carlson was advertising that she's got bringing out her Halloween book. I've got to decide. Now, I really regretted not buying her Christmas book, and I will get it, I'm sure, when it comes out in, I think it comes out October, September in the UK. But this one will be available on iMusic in the sort of Swedish language edition, but for international dispatch you can buy it from anywhere. And I'm sort of thinking, because the Christmas one sold out really quickly, and I sort of, once I'd seen a flip through, I was really sad that I hadn't got it. But I have got plenty of Christmas books and some lovely ones, so, you know, I shouldn't be sad. There's a, you know, I was just like, oh, you know how it is. I've got plenty of books. In fact, I'm having a bit of a clear out, not books, but stuff. I'm beginning to feel like I'm sort of thinking, if I can get rid of one thing every day for the rest of the year, my goodness, I'd have a lot less stuff, you know. And yesterday, my husband carried a couple of bags of stuff to the charity shop for me. It was also a big mix of different stuff. A couple of t-shirts, which have always been too tight, and for some reason I kept them. Well, they were quite expensive, but I was like, why am I keeping these? This is just silly. So that, and a scarf that I never wear, amber gold, and some soaps that I don't really like, that I haven't opened, brand new. And I thought, oh, let's get rid of those. So we're just continuing. I'm not going all the way to the tip. I have a slightly lighter tip, and just all sorts of little bits and bobs that I found when I was sorting out. And I also had to sort out in here and cleared back a few shelves, threw away a bit of stuff. You know, when I took stuff off the shelves, I found there was some sort of covers of A4 pads and plastic wallets and things that had all got crushed and squashed up at the back of the shelf. No one's going to want those, so I got rid of those, and a few other bits and pieces I found out, various things that can be used up, just all sorts of things. Now I've got a selection of books that I'm considering whether to get rid of or not. That's in my head at the moment, but I just think if I open a drawer or look on a shelf, there's going to be something on there that I can get rid of, and I'm just going to have a big cull, and I think I am going to feel a lot better as a result. And I also want our house to look better, more bright coloured, positive, happy, because my husband had a bout of depression over the weekend. My son has them all the time, and I was just thinking, if I can make things more colourful, tidy, pretty, everything, maybe people will feel a bit happier. Maybe they won't, but it's not any harm in trying. I'm trying all sorts of things to try and help them, getting them out for walks, trying to keep happy myself. My HRT's helping a lot with that. That sort of thing. It's very difficult to try and find things that help other people. They do need to find their own way. But I'm thinking, so yesterday we hung a couple of pictures. Our hallways have no pictures in at all, and we bought a couple of pictures actually. So that's, yeah, buying stuff is not really part of the equation, but anyway, we bought a couple of pictures. I'm now jumping to sunflower, so we're going up to a really bright yellow. Here it is, and I'm going to go over everything with this. I'm going to start here, I think. I don't know why. So we bought a couple of pictures, so we needed to sort of, but because they were quite small and we've got a couple of big pictures that sort of need hanging, we're like, well, maybe we should just hang the big ones, and then we can put the small ones either side, and they won't look so sort of swamped by the big wall. So I hung a couple of pictures. I say I did. My husband helped me measure, but he's really scared of hammering like a tack in, like a picture hook into the wall. He always thinks he's gonna hit an electric cable or something. I don't know, he just won't do it, so I did it. And so that was that. I hung that, a couple of pictures, and that cleared them out of my office, so that was nice. So I'm just sort of slowly thinking, if I can just make the environment here just a little bit nicer, maybe even if it just makes me more cheery, that will help everybody else, you know. So that's my sort of plan. I haven't shared it with husband because he'll panic that I'm trying to throw away the whole house and everything of his. Now I can't touch anything that's his without his permission, so that makes it trickier. But I seem to have managed to have accumulated a lot more stuff than I thought I had. So, you know, I thought I'd already got rid of most of my stuff, but it turns out I haven't really. You know, as I say, I've got a couple of stacks of books and I'm thinking, maybe I could, I don't need those, maybe I'm not going to read them again. Maybe I could get them out of the library if I want to read them again, you know, that sort of thing. Now, I am feeling I haven't quite got enough definition between the petals here. It just looks like quite a blob. It's a good word, isn't it? So I'm just wondering what to do. Whether to go put some shadow in or whether to just... I think I'm just going to grab the mango again and just try putting a little bit extra down and seeing if that's enough. And if it isn't, then I'll go in with something a bit darker. But I'm thinking if I can just sort of do that and then just go around the edge here, it might be enough. So yes, it's been really cathartic to just get rid of some stuff and just feel like I'm trying to make a difference. You know, I'm also thinking about buying some more house plants. I think they might be a nice way to brighten the house, but I've got to think of where to put them because we don't really have much space for like surfaces to put things on. Or, you know, I know people like cut flowers and I'm thinking, would that help? But I always think they're so wasteful. There's some really pretty sort of roses in pots and things like that, which, you know, I think, well, they last much longer. But the place where I would put them isn't very good for a long-term plant because it doesn't get loads of light. So I'm just sort of having a little think about that as well. You know, I think a plant would be better. Definitely a flowering plant, I mean, not just any old plant. We have a few non-flowering plants. I've got a geranium that doesn't flower very often and a fern in a pot which is looking a bit scrappy, to be honest. I suppose I could swap that one out, put it in the garden, see if it likes it. I don't know, might not. It's probably an indoor one. I don't know, is there such thing as an indoor fern? Maybe it would work in the garden. I might Google that after this video and see whether all ferns survive, because they're very British, I think, ferns. I mean, not just, but you know, they grow loads everywhere in the wild. They're very gorgeous, I think. I'm going to do the centre of the flower in a sort of orangey brown, a spice. So yeah, so I might do that, and then I'll free up that space where that fern is. Oh, look at my spice pencil. I've been sharpening it with a sharpener it didn't like, that's for sure. I'm not going to sharpen it now. I think that was my Stedler Norris that took a chunk out. The Tagal sharpener is much kinder to these. Now, is that and that and that part of this? You see, these just look so different. I'm going to do these in a different colour. And I'm just having a look. I think they're more like these, but I'm just going to do them in their own colour, I think, and not try and make them part of something else, if that makes any sense. I'm going to do them in a nice red. What should we use? The cardinal red. That's a nice red. There we go. And yeah, I'll just try and fade them towards the tip. Make those little ones at the back a bit darker. There we go. They're quite bright, aren't they? But they look a bit tulipy, which is what I'm trying to do with them. I mean, they're probably not supposed to be, but you know, why not? I do love a tulip. Maybe I should buy some tulips. Now I'm just talking about buying things all the time. I don't want to just buy loads of stuff when I'm getting rid of things. You know, this is part of it as well. You know, when we bring things in, we need to get rid of stuff. Just bought my son a couple of hoodies. His were just, he's gone through the elbow really, really quickly. It was a hoodie from Sainsbury's. And it was just thin. He's just worn through the elbow like in months. He wears it all the time, but still. So we bought him one from John Lewis, and we're hoping it'll be a bit better. Now our leaves. I think we can get away with the sort of olivey colours. I'm going to use foliage. I just like it. Where are you, foliage? There you are. So I'm going to go over all the leaves in this sort of little area down here in the foliage, and then I will darken them up a little bit with something else, probably add some sort of shadow, but I'm just going to put a base of foliage down. I think this olive goes really nicely. I like olive greens and oranges. I think they work, and I think could do a separate color, different color just for this bit. Let's just do the leaves that look like they belong to the orange flowers with this. Yeah, this one I reckon. Now it's all a bit plain at the minute. As I say, I'll grab a darker colour and do some shadows and details after. Well, I say I think that's part of this. Not really details as such, but I'm expecting some post. I keep thinking it's coming and then it doesn't. I got something through the door earlier and it was an election leaflet. We've got local elections coming up 1st of May for our county councillor. Now, I'm quite confused, as I think a lot of people are, as to what they actually do. One came round the door canvassing and I wasn't in, my son was in, and apparently all she could talk about was potholes. Now he doesn't care about potholes, he doesn't drive. It is a big issue for people who do drive because obviously they ruin your car and they're just not very comfortable to drive over. But again, I don't drive. What else do? They can't just fill potholes. I mean, that seems like, you know. So I'm not sure, but I was just, a lot of it was just all about party politics, but I feel that on our local area, people don't always tend to worry about party politics. They tend to be more what's right for the area. I'm going to use the light olive, so I don't think it's necessarily relevant, so what party they stand for, more than what views they have, because they have to vote and things, you know, on various issues. This one's just breaking. It just keeps breaking. I'm going to go and get another sharpener. Hold on. Yeah, I put it in my electric sharpener. It's got rather small, but unfortunately it just seems to be a particularly breaky pencil, if that makes any sense. Sometimes I just find a particular pencil just doesn't seem to want to not crumble to pieces. But what I'm going to do with it is put some shadow down here at the bottom. Fortunately, there's another colour called leaf green, which is really quite similar. So when this one runs out, I shall use that one instead. I think I could pretty much use them interchangeably without that much worry, if you know what I mean. Put a bit at the bottom of these. Each end of that stem. Yeah, I'm not gonna, I won't be ordering a new one for a bit. I've had to, I don't know about you, well, I have to, you know, have enough to do an order. I know where to get them from. The colour pencil shop has them, so that's good, but obviously I'm not going to just order one pencil. And I've just had an order. Well, I made an order and sent them to my parents because for my birthday, it's not till May, but my mum likes to have everything organised really early, so that's good. So I just ordered them and had them sent to her so that she can give them to me, which is nice. She was happy about that, and she didn't have to worry about it. Now let's have another different colour for these other ones. I'm going to use the spring bud and the key lime together, but I'm going to sharpen the spring bud and use that first. I'm going to use the darkest one first because I think the key lime might otherwise overtake the whole of it. It might be hard to put a darker colour on top, so I'm going to fade that top and bottom, do a little bit at the bottom of here, like that, and the bottom of here. Now this is a less olivey colour, but I thought it would still work. We'll see. Once the key lime's on top of it, it will look different. There we go, that's it. And then the key lime, which I am going to sharpen. There we go. That Tagal sharpener is my friend. It does work very nicely with these pencils. I'm going over what I've done and then just taking it to the tip. And they'll stand out a little bit amongst that sort of dull green and olivey green. Now we could make the olivey green stand out slightly. Let's just do that before I finish. There's an olive yellow colour. Here it is. And if I'm just going to put my tablet on, and I'm just going to sharpen it up, and then I'm going to use it over all of this, particularly the tips, and you will see that it will just warm it all up. I might not worry about the stems so much as the leaves. I think it just looks prettier. It's up to you. You don't have to do this if it's a bit too much for you, or if you don't have this colour. I realise some of you aren't going to have the 150 set. Some of you probably got the 100 or even the, is there a 72? I can't remember. They brought out quite a lot of different size sets, haven't they? There we go. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at what we've done so far, and that will be it for today's video. Bring you down. There we are. It's getting there, isn't it? It's a pretty cute little bunny. Oh, so that is that for today. So please join me tomorrow for the next instalment. I'm not quite sure how much we'll get done. We'll just see how it goes. But thank you for watching. Please do like, subscribe and comment, and happy colouring.